but I am pressing on. Are we gonna do it? This is where I'm gonna lose it if I lose it at all. Holy cow. I forgot how bad this was. If this did it, I'm gonna be thoroughly impressed. This video is gonna take a different direction because although I am reviewing this e-bike, I wanna put it to the test and see if it could bring me to a difficult location where a previous e-bike failed. Now, if you have watched most of my Google Maps adventures, you may recognize the location and understand it wasn't the easiest one to get to, but this bike is advertised to be very powerful, so in essence, it should get us there without any issues. But is it gonna get us there? Is it worth buying, or something you should skip? Before we answer those questions, let's find out what this bike has to offer. The bike we're checking out today is the Eahora Juliet Pro 2. Now, Eahora may sound familiar. That's because I reviewed their Romeo Pro 2 a while back, which is a great bike in itself, but they've done some different things with this bike as far as different technology, different components, different styling, and it's currently one of the best rated bikes available on the market today. And hopefully you'll agree once you find out why at the end of this video. Well, before we talk about what this bike has to offer, let me tell you briefly about the unboxing and assembly of this bike because for some people, it may come across as a bit daunting. This bike does get shipped in 2 different boxes. One smaller box has the front wheel assembly. The other box is the bike itself, but actually assembly was quite easy on this bike. I was done in under 20 minutes with assembling this bike. So basically the handlebars just slip on to the post. The front wheel goes into the forks, front fender and headlight, just screw right on, screw the pedals on, and I believe that was it. I mean, the bike was really, really simple to assemble despite it coming in 2 boxes. So if you are someone who's not great with instructions and putting things together, it is very straightforward. Instructions are great, but there's also tutorial videos online as well. But let's talk the nitty gritty of this bike, and that is the specs and features because they are quite impressive. For starters, right here in this entire frame is the battery. This is a removable 60 volt, 70 amp hour battery. It does have a handle right here to not only help pull it out, but to carry it around because it weighs over 30 pounds, the battery itself. But you do have a key slot here, so you can unlock and remove the battery, charge it wherever you want. You can also charge it while it's in the bike as well. Down bottom of the battery is a toggle button, toggle switch for providing power to the battery itself. So if the button is out, there's no power, and to power in the bike or to even take a charge of the battery, the button must be depressed. The battery itself, though, does power not 1, but 2 motors, dual motor e-bike. They do put out wattage of 2200 watts each and up to 2600 watts of peak power. It does ride on 20 by 4-inch wide fat tires with, I will say, somewhat aggressive tread, which is going to be great for all-terrain use. Stopping power is front and rear hydraulic disc brakes, and this does ride with a cadence sensor, which means once the pedals start moving, you start getting instant power from the motor depending on which pedal assist you're in. So not the most realistic feeling for giving a workout or a traditional bike, but you are able to pedal easily without having to exert a whole lot of effort and energy if that's the type of riding that you do want to have. Also, for suspension, one of the problems with the Romeo Pro 2, it was really stiff suspension. They have really went leaps and bounds ahead with this bike because front and rear suspension is fantastic on this bike. Whether you're riding on the streets with potholes and bumps and bounces, or you're riding in terrain like this where it's off-road, the suspension is phenomenal. Really adds for a comfortable, safe feeling ride with this bike. Now with this big battery and the motors, what can you expect for range and speed? Well, range is classified in 2 different areas according to the website. The first one is throttle only. If you want to ride this throttle only, you can, with a potential range of up to 65 miles. If you were to pedal using pedal assist, you can reach ranges of up to 220 miles. As I say for every review, results will vary person to person. Basically, if you're a lightweight rider riding on flat terrain, pedaling in single motor use, you definitely will get much farther range than someone, say, my size, using dual motor, using throttle off and on. So your results will vary, but the potential is there for this to be a long range bike. As far as speed goes, the bike does come locked at 28 miles an hour top speed, but I'm going to show you, you can go through the sub menu and unlock it to reach speeds of up to 43 miles an hour. For me though, I did reach a personal top speed of 39. I have seen videos where people have reached higher speeds than that, But again, depending on your size, your environment, so on and so forth, but right around 40 miles an hour is gonna be the sweet spot with this bike in dual motor use. You need to keep in mind though, this is a heavier bike. This does weigh in at 148 pounds, including the battery, which we already mentioned does weigh in at over 30 pounds, but it does have a payload capacity of 400 pounds. So if you are a larger rider or you want to carry some extra heavier gear, you can certainly do so. Now there are a few more things I do want to show you, so come on over and let's check them out. So for the cockpit area, I do have a few of my own personal accessories on here, the mirror, phone mount, and cup holder, just to show you you can customize it, make your riding experience that much better. Left-hand side, do have nice rubber grips, pretty soft. Electronic horn button right there. 5-button control module. Your display screen, and if you notice, I have my cord right here. So yes, there is a USB-C port for charging your phone while you're riding. So big thumbs up there. Right-hand side is your 7-speed Shimano gear system and your half or quarter twist throttle, which is my least favorite feature. I'd rather see a thumb throttle or preferably a full twist throttle for a bike of this caliber. Now, as long as the button is pressed in on the battery, we'll come up here, long press the power button, and the display will boot up. And we have a bright sunny day, and that display is very vibrant. You can see it under all conditions. So right up here, top right, is your battery. Shows not only the bar, but percentage, miles per hour, trip, odometer. It says P for park, which means it's locked. So you just press the brake lever, it unlocks it. And then you're a cyclist with the rear wheel highlighted in orange, showing rear wheel drive right now or rear motor power. So a couple things to check out is, for starters, is there is a sub menu. So if you long press the plus and minus, you will get a sub menu. So the first one is display setting. Once you're there, press the I button. There you could reset the trip, because the trip does not reset on its own. You could change the units, brightness, so on and so forth. Set a password if you wish to. But if you come to advanced settings, that's where you could unlock further options. You could unlock the speed limit from 28. I do have it at 62. That just means that the speedometer will register up to 62. Say you're coasting down a hill, reaching excessive speeds. But again, my top speed was 39. You could also adjust the sensitivity for acceleration. You could have slow start, turn cruise off and on. So you could customize it however you want. And it's really easy to get to, pretty self-explanatory. So the I button, we know what that does. Headlight button, if you long press that, the screen will dim, and that illuminates the headlight and the tail light. So long pressing that will do that. But that also has another feature or function. A simple single press is for your motor selection. So right now it's in rear wheel motor. Single press changes to front motor drive. Press it again, dual motor. One more press is no power at all. And then back to rear motor. So that's gonna be your button you're gonna use most frequently for changing from rear to dual motor use, which I typically use. Unless you wanna have front wheel drive, the option is there, but most people don't use that. But it is basically a dedicated button, but it's a dual function button. So motor use, selection, and headlight turning off and on. Beneath the handlebars is our front fork suspension, so you can adjust the rebound and compression. You can lock them out if you want to, or make them as soft or stiff as you'd like. Right here is your headlight, which is a pretty good size. Works pretty good for nighttime riding. And of course, front plastic fender, pretty aggressive tread on the 20 by 4 inch wide fat tire, and your front hub, which again does put out 2200 watts of power. As mentioned, if you want to remove the battery, here's your key slot right here. Just unlock it, pull it out, and it's as easy as that. But it is nicely protected in the frame. So if you are off-road riding, nothing's gonna kick up and hit it. It is top side protected and easy to remove. As talked about suspension though, rear suspension right here, as far as I know, it's not adjustable, but it does basically come dialed in right out of the box. So it is a great riding bike. The front and rear suspension works flawlessly. Definitely a huge upgrade over the Romeo Pro 2. Added suspension is the seat. You can see it has some coils right there. And the seat itself is wide, it's thick, it's plush. I give this a 4.5 out of 5 rating. Fantastic seat on this bike. Also mentioning too, there is your button right there. So pressing it in will give power to the bike, but it also must be pressed in for charging the battery. If it's not in, the battery won't take a charge. Rear cargo rack. So again, you can put a milk crate on here, storage tote, saddlebags, whatever you wish. And your tail light / brake light. So it does illuminate when the headlight's on and anytime the brake levers are depressed. And lastly, if you want to charge the battery while it's in the bike, right here is your charging port. So you remove that flap and you plug in your charger right there, and you'll be able to charge it up without having to lift out the 30-some pound battery, but the option is there if you want to do that. Specs and features sound quite impressive, don't they? But how's it going to perform? That's the true test. Is this going to bring me to a rather difficult remote Google Maps location where a previous e-bike of a different brand and model failed to do so? Is the Juliet Pro 2 going to do it? Let's find out right now. So I want to do a demonstration for you, not a top speed test, but an acceleration test. So keep in mind, through the submenu, you can adjust the sensitivity and power delivery. I have everything kind of set to the middle, right in the normal, but you can raise or lower it for your preference. But I have it on rear, single motor, pedal assist 5, just going to do the throttle. So it's a nice, manageable control acceleration, nothing too wild or crazy, and hit 20 miles an hour in a reasonable amount of time. And that's with one motor. So let's kick it up to dual motor. Same power assist level, throttle only. There's the power. We're at 20 already. This thing takes off like a rocket when you want it to or need it to. Not that it'll throw you off, but it definitely throws you back. You could feel that power as you could hear the acceleration. That front dual motor combining over 4,000 watts of power between both motors. You really feel it. So if you need to climb a steep hill, get some momentum, race your friends, get away from something really quick, that power is there, winning if you need it. And it is a rocket. We're not too far away from where we're going to be starting our challenge to reach our location. But I just wanted to show you that even though this is a powerful, potentially long-range bike, you still operate it, use it like a traditional bike. So if you just want to have it in single motor and pedal away, you can certainly do so. You're not obligated to use throttle or dual motor if you don't want to, but the options are always there, especially for certain situations and environments where it does need that extra power, where it's not really a suitable location for pedaling based on it having a cadence sensor. Torque sensor, you can get away with it a bit more. Cadence, you basically need open space to pedal. Otherwise, you're going to get too much power at sometimes the wrong opportunity or the wrong time. So, but it does work pretty well as a traditional bike. Fully in pedal assist 2, single motor, and it is, you know, chugging right along, no problem whatsoever. So if I was to try to pedal like this, a dual motor, pedal assist 5, it'd be ridiculous. I'd be free spinning because I'd be going too fast, too much power, especially for a cadence sensor. So you use this bike how you want, the options are there, and depending on where you're going, it's going to dictate how you will or will not use this bike. As a normal bike, it rides quite nice, especially with the suspension in the seat. These bumps and bounces, I barely feel it at all. So if someone has like a sensitive back or joints or hips, this is definitely a good recommendation for having a soft, comfortable ride. Okay, not too bad. Oh, a little splash of the pedal there. Should bring us to another road out here. Yep, just how I remember it. Now, I haven't been here for a few years, but I do know there is something of interest up here that I found on Google Maps, and I came in from a different direction on a completely different bike by a different company, and although it did bring me 3/4 of the way, it did fail and struggle at one particular area. And here's an old train bridge right here too, just to show you there are ruins and remnants out here, which I have covered in the past. So it is worth continuing to watch if you do want to see what we're going to find up here. If you do remember that video, you already know it's there. And if you haven't seen it, well, you're gonna see it for the first time. Hopefully it's still there, and hopefully it's accessible. But we're gonna try to do it on this bike because further up ahead, we're gonna come by a big water tank tower, and that's where we stopped gaining some progress with the bike and started struggling and having to get off and push it. Just to show you I can pedal if I want to. And pedaling can help in some situations when you're climbing hills. Take a little bit of stress off the motors. So right up here is the power line. That's where I came out on the other bike the first time. And this is where I started struggling. So I'm going to kick it up to max power, dual motor, pedal assist 5. And so far we are kicking butt. Wow. Front wheel's even spinning out a little bit. I'm gonna lean forward to gain some traction, put some weight on that wheel. But we are cruising up this hill. Now the most difficult part is yet to come. Is this gonna make it? I think there's a more than a 50% chance that it will, because right here is basically where it becomes a dirt road into a rocky road. Yeah, this is not the most pleasant terrain, but this is what we're dealing with, putting the bike to the ultimate test. I'm just using pure throttle right now, feathering it as needed, and so far so good. Thankfully, this suspension is helping the best it can, but there's only so much you could do for an environment like this. Holy cow, this is bumpy. Are we gonna do it? This is where I'm gonna lose it if I lose it at all. I need to get some traction. I was pushing by this point. We're still moving. The bike is doing all the work. Are we gonna make it? Okay, got another rough section here. I can't go too fast, it's just gonna like rattle me to pieces and I'll lose traction. This is a workout on my hands, my legs, everything, my core. Holy cow, I forgot how bad this was. I know the terrain and the steepness doesn't come through on camera, but just trust me, this is no walk in the park. Oh man, coming close to losing traction here and progress. Ugh. We have reached it. Oh, my hands are aching. Wow, what a friggin' workout. I can't believe we did that. All right, give me a minute. I'll show you what's up here. I am thoroughly impressed. I know for a fact I've reviewed other dual motor e-bikes that wouldn't have made it up here. They either lack the power or the traction with the tires, or a combination of both. Although what we did is not what this bike is intended for. To show that it can do it, it's impressive. But let's take a break from that, check out why we're here. So some of you may remember this place, some of you may not. This is something I found on Google Maps a few years ago, and what I found is actually kind of over there. This is part of the infrastructure here of some pump house facilities, which are now abandoned, tagged up, trashed. So there's different rooms here with different piping and equipment that would have been inside of it. This is an electrical room. There was fires on the inside. And then when we come down here, I remember there was also the yellow submarine was painted here too. I think it was from the Beatles or the Monkees, I can't remember who, but it was the yellow submarine. And then down bottom, there's another structure down there, a creek. And the main highlight for me was this old, I guess, pump or valve house for an old abandoned reservoir, which is no longer in use. It's decommissioned. Water is cloudy and putrid. And last time I was here, there was thousands of mosquitoes. But right here is the old spillway that we can walk out onto. And you can see it drops off significantly on the left-hand side. Water is flowing through beneath us. And remember, there's a big opening where there would be a pipe down here where the water went through. So there's a valve right there. There's a railroad track for structural support. But this is a deep hole where water would go through and discharge through a pipe somewhere down there. So there's a lot of neat stuff down there. But it's a pretty neat area. I wanted to show it to you because, for one, it made for a good challenge location for the bike. And two, I have a lot of new subscribers since I was last here. So if you want to see this place in full detail, see how my bike failed on the way here, learn more about it, check it out. Better than we are today, check the provided link down below in the description. There's something else I found out about this bike while riding it too, and that is the turning radius. I'm going to demonstrate for you. The left side turning radius is rather large. That's as far as the steering wheel or handlebars will go. So it's a big turning radius to the left. But to the right, it's sharper. I could turn the wheel much sharper and almost turn around right in its spot. So I guess it's just the design. I don't know if it's a flaw or not, but design characteristic. So if you need to make a sharp turn, you could do so to the right, pretty much turn right on the spot. But just keep in mind, if you turn left, you need to have ample room, or you might be doing a 3-point turn to accomplish your turn. I think we did a pretty good job putting this bike through its paces, but there are a few things I do want to discuss with you, both likes and dislikes. So let's find an area to pull over and we'll talk about those next. Gotta be honest with you, that ride was harder on me than I think it was on the bike. The way down, which I didn't record, was brutal. I had my fingers on both brake levers the entire time to control my descent. All my weight of myself was on the handlebars, so my palms were taking the brunt of it, and then my legs and my core trying to keep the bike steady and balanced, because those rocks are just so unforgiving that if you're not holding tight and making sure of where your path is, you can easily just get thrown off and end up getting hurt. That is definitely not what this bike is intended for, but the fact that the bike did it, it excelled beyond my expectations. I am thrilled that the bike climbed and beat its competitor up there last time. Granted, this is a dual motor bike, but still, it had the power, capability, and features to conquer something like that. Now, as great as the bike is, it's not perfect. None of them are, at least as of yet. So there are a few things I just want to address with you really briefly. For the dislikes or cons, number one, it's got to be the half twist throttle. I am just not a fan of that at all. I never have been, never will be. If I could have a thumb throttle, but more preferably a full twist throttle, this bike would be that much better. You can check through either Eahora or online for aftermarket throttles if you do want to upgrade that for yourself. I have done that in other bikes and it makes a world of difference. But a bike like this that is very capable of having a long riding time on throttle and that could go long distances, in my mind, should have a full twist throttle. Just makes sense. Other bikes in this category with this range have full twist throttles. I like to see it on this. I'm not mistaken, I think the Romeo has full twist, but the Juliet doesn't. So just the design thing. Some people like them, some don't. I personally don't. The other thing is the turning radius, which I mentioned. Left-hand side, it's a really big turning radius. Right-hand side, it's sharp. So you have to be mindful of which way you're turning to know if you have enough room. The last thing, which is not a dislike or a con, it is something worth pointing out, is that that terrain was really, really rough on this bike and myself, as I mentioned. You saw how rocky and bumpy it was. I felt the rear suspension bottoming out. I think it's just the coil spring suspension in there. So it does have its limits. It works fine on ordinary everyday terrain. That was a little bit overkill, and I did feel it bottom out a few times. So just keep that in mind. I also am a heavier guy, around 240, 245. But if you are lighter than me or not riding on terrain like that, you probably won't even bottom that out at all. For the likes though, well, obviously it's capable of a lot of things. This is a bike with a ton of options. If you want to ride it like a traditional bike, you could do so. If you want to climb some serious steep hills, both paved or dirt roads, it can do it. If you want to get up to speed really quick, it's got the acceleration. The fact that you could customize the settings to tweak it to your needs is another great option. But this bike also could be overkill for some people. If you don't plan on going on, adventures like that, well, then you may not need a bike like this. But for me, it's more peace of mind knowing that I have a bike that can do a bunch of different things really well, rather than just one thing really great. So although this isn't perfect in one particular area, it does a bunch of different things really well, whether it's traditional bike riding, climbing, speed, acceleration, payload capacity. It checks a lot of boxes. So if you're someone who likes adventures and journeys and going to remote destinations, by all means, I highly, highly recommend the Eahora Juliet Pro 2. Like I said too, if you're someone that has sore or stiff joints or parts of your body that you can't really deal with a hardtail or stiff suspension, again, this is gonna be right up your alley as well. Beyond that, I had a blast riding it. The only thing I'd like to see differently is to have higher handlebars. The riding position for me is a little bit forward, where I like a bit more upright. That's just a personal preference for me. You probably can get a riser for this if you want to, but I did feel they're just slightly down too low for me. If they were up another 2-3 inches, it'd be perfect, in my opinion. If you do want to get more details and the latest pricing, please check the link down below. And if you want to compare it to other e-bikes I reviewed, including the one that did fail that same location, check the playlist down below as well. Otherwise, thanks for watching, safe riding, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.